Hi, I'm Robin Trimingham, and I'm here with Bill Storie, the founder of Olderhood.com. You're listening to Radio Olderhood, a retirement happiness, a continuing series. So, Bill, it's been a couple of weeks since we've had the opportunity to chat. What's on your mind today?
Hi Robin, hi everybody. Um, we started a new series actually of retirement happiness columns just over a week ago, which was it was interesting how we managed to find the topic actually, because we went to our Olderhood International Club and said, "What do you think we should talk about? What do you think we should write about?" And it was interesting because I think most people came back with money, or finance and pensions and stuff like that. And so we did. We started the article, and the first article in the new series, which is volume 3, if I remember, was, rather than talk about specifics of money, it was to talk in broad terms, or broad general terms, about the impact of money, or more appropriately, the impact of not having enough money. And
Do you think there's more people out there who actually don't have enough money, or who are just feeling really confused as to whether or not they have enough money because they don't know how long they need to have money for?
Oh, that's exactly the point. I mean, if everybody knew how long they were going to live, and then they could work out how much they need per year, they could, it would be a lot easier. I think, broadly speaking, people are, health is number one. I mean, if you ask any retirement community, and we've certainly done that hundreds of times now through Olderhood, what is your number one, concern or issue or stuff like that? It's health. There's no question about that. But closely followed by number 2, which is money, which is finance. And the underlying issue of that, and the correlation, in fact, between the two, is that, how the perceived lack of money impacts their health. So that they're actually, maybe not physically impacted per se.
Do you mean stress?
Stress,
yeah,
without any doubt. And they're concerned, and it is to the point that you just made of, I have enough money today, and I have enough money for tomorrow. But if I live till the end of the week, will I have enough money? And that's by far and away the biggest issue regarding money.
I also think it's so sad that people sit at home and they try and worry and wonder about, well, should we take a vacation? Should we, do this thing we've always dreamed of doing? And they're wondering whether or not they can afford it. And I guess, I am very pragmatic in most of my life, but I also think that if you have the opportunity to do something, that maybe you should do it.
Well, again, I guess that goes back to we've talked about the bucket list.
Yeah.
But I think there are significant numbers of people around the world who, on the one hand, they have the bucket list, but now that they're in bucket list territory, in other words, now they're retired, they're now beginning to wonder whether or not they can afford to do or to go through some or all of that bucket list. And that's a concern.
You got to figure that at the end of your days, you're either going to be frail or possibly not terribly well. And yes, you need some money for that, but you also, your opportunity, your window, it's much smaller towards the end of your days. And I just think that, while you have the energy, while you have your health, while your knees are up to it, that everybody should get out and do a few things, because at least you'll have good memories.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. But the problem with that is that, again, it goes back to time. If you spend, I mean, you're not going to spend all of your money, but if you spend a significant portion of your retirement funds, whether that's pension monies or whatever, at the front end, shall we say, then your concern is that you won't have enough at the back end.
Well, and then I think that's where, a little common sense has to prevail. I mean, we all might like to fly to the moon, but can most of us afford to do that? No, we can't. So I think you have to look at your bucket list and figure out what version of the things on your list you could realistically do.
Yeah.
There's a difference between making a 3 or 4 day trip to a place that you've always wanted to see, or going for a month.
No, exactly. But I think that one of the points in the article in the retirement happiness column was that you're not alone if you're concerned, and that it is good to talk about it. Some people are embarrassed by talking about.
I think a lot of people are embarrassed about it.
Well, I think they are, because I think what happens is that they sort of begin to wonder, what did they do wrong 10, 15 years ago or 5 years ago, whatever it was, when they were working. Did they have a job that paid enough, etc., etc., and they kind of humiliate themselves by accepting and acknowledging the fact that they goofed and that they don't have enough money. Therefore, rather than sit, in the coffee shop and say, gee, I goofed, I don't have enough money, I don't know what I'm going to do, they internalize it.
And I think that's something we
problem.
all have to work against. I mean, yes, there are a few people out there who are irresponsible and they buy every last thing on the planet and they're deeply in debt and they have no one to blame but their financial circumstances. But you know what? By and large, most of us, that's not really the case. You go through your life and stuff happens to you. I mean, somebody gets sick and you have to care for them and the bills are really big. Or you lost your job and you had trouble with your mortgage. These are not really things that you can control. I think most of us get up in the morning, we look after ourselves and our families to the best of our ability, and we save what we're able to. I think we got, as much as you need to be careful with the money that you do have when you're retired, I also think you have to give yourself a break. What is the point of beating up on yourself if you didn't have more than whatever it is that you've got?
I agree, and I think most people recognise that, most people accept that, but the fact remains that people do, as I said just a minute ago, internalise it, and they take it upon themselves, and they're scared to talk to friends or family,
anybody,
and say, my goodness me, I wonder what I can do to, I can't go take a part-time job, I ain't going to get one, or, I have to rejig my investment portfolio or whatever, because I'm in a fixed income bracket now. I know what I'm making on an annualised basis, I know what my expenses are, but I don't know if everything's going to last. So, which goes back to the time issue again, and that really is the trouble point.
Well, you know what? We all have to just get up each day and say, hey, it's a day and I'm here and enjoy it.
Well,
that's that's a huge part of having a successful retirement, is just enjoying the day.
Well, basically, don't let the money problems get you down.
Yeah.
And that I accept. I agree with that. If you can do that, great. Unfortunately, a lot of people can't, and I think that's what we're talking about in the column. So.
Okay, so everybody read the column. I think that's a good place to stop. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/olderhoodcom, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.